everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation. Have you ever wanted to turn your life into a work of art or make it the greatest it can be? Then if so, then we have the Carpenter Show for you. Today I'll be talking with Jon Gordon, the best-selling author of numerous books, including The Energy Bus and You Win in the Locker Room First, a consultant to Fortune 500 companies and to teams such as the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball, and the author of a fantastic book I've read over and over again, The Carpenter. And that's just what I want to talk with him about today, about some of the greatest success strategies of them all. That plus we'll talk about the importance of a burrito and a sandwich, lessons from a dog named Matt, gotcha, becoming our own chief caring officers, and what you can learn from coaching 9-year-old girls basketball. So welcome to the show, Jon. Are you ready to shine?
I'm ready. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being on the show. Before we dive right in, who is Walter Isaacson?
Walter Isaacson, he wrote the biography of Steve Jobs, among other biographies, and an incredible author of great leaders and transformative leaders throughout history.
How's he influenced you?
Well, just by reading his work has influenced me.
Fantastic. Let's go from there. And you've worked with a lot of sports teams over the year. And in fact, you've written a fantastic book on it. How would you sum up what you've learned with them over the years?
Well, there's so many lessons I've learned. I'm actually writing a book right now called The Power of Positive Leadership, where I'm sharing all my lessons I've learned from all these great leaders in sports and business and in the world. That's why I'm unshaven right now, because I've been writing every day.
Awesome.
I started before Christmas, and I've been writing every day through Christmas, through New Year's. Hopefully, I'm going to finish tomorrow is the goal. So, haven't been out much, been writing every day. But the lessons I've learned is that they're lifelong learners. I mean, they're always learning and growing and striving to get better. They are humble and hungry. I mean, great coaches like Billy Donovan and John Calipari and people like that, they will call me and others up and want to meet with us and share ideas and brainstorm, because they're looking for the edge. They're looking for ways that they can make their teams better. So I've learned that from them. I've also learned that one of the keys to great coaching and great leadership is love and accountability. You have to have both. Also, you can say grace and truth. You got to have some grace, understanding that they're going to fail, but truth. Sometimes you have to bring the truth. Love and accountability. Got to love them up. They got to know you love them. If you love them, guess what? They will allow you to push them and challenge them to help them be their best. But if you don't love them and you're just hold them accountable all the time, and you're just giving rules. Andy Stanley said, rules without relationship lead to rebellion. So it's about making sure that you get the love, that they know you're there for them, but then the accountability, the structure, and the discipline to make sure that they're doing what they need to do. Dabo Swinney, who's about to play in the national championship with his Clemson team, worked with them for 5 years now. And Dabo is all about love. His team knows that he loves them. They're like a big family, but he's also about accountability. We set the standards. We have the standards of greatness. That best is the standard. And guess what? You better work to meet those standards, or else, you're not going to be on this team.
So you use some interesting words that I wonder if they were not brought out of the closet even maybe 10 years ago. Love and grace. Is this something I can't even imagine coming into a football team, say 20 years ago, and saying, I want to teach love and grace to you guys.
Right. It was not something that was talked about. And years ago, it was about being a dictator as a leader. Do it because I said so. This is how we do things. If you don't like it, get off the bus. That was the mindset. Now it's about a collaborative leadership model. It's about a family model. It's about inclusive, getting people on the bus, loving them, but also motivating them, and also holding them accountable to the standards to help them be their best. Let's face it. If you love someone, you want them to be their best, and you will not let them settle for anything else but their best. I have an 18-year-old and a 16-year-old. I'm always driving them to help them be their best. Why? Because I love them. But I got to make sure I'm developing a relationship with them. And especially with the millennials today, I believe that the millennials are forcing us to be great leaders. Everyone's giving them a hard time. No, millennials want you to engage them. They need your engagement. They want to know their progress. They want to know how they're doing. They want to know that the company has a purpose, that there's a purpose for why they do what they do. And guess what? If you don't have a purpose, if you're not engaging them, if you're not developing a relationship with them, well, guess what? They're not going to be engaged. They're not going to want to work hard. But if you give them what they need, the love, the accountability, the structure, the opportunity to be successful, I have found that they will work very hard. So no longer can you just lead as a dictator. You now have to include. And millennials are forcing us to do that. And if you don't do that, you're going to lose them and everyone on your team. This is where leadership is going. It's not where it's been, but it's where it's going. I just talked to Alan Mulally. Alan Mulally turned around Ford in 2006 when they were losing about $14 billion for the year. And then he turned them around from $14 billion in 2 years, made them profitable. How did he do it? A lot of love and a lot of accountability. One of the greatest leadership feats in human history he accomplished. And he did it with those two things. And a plan. Yep. He said everyone has the plan. Everyone knows the plan. Everyone understands the plan. And everyone works towards the plan. He was incredible at getting everyone united, but then they were working towards a plan with excellence.
Woohoo! It sounds like we can use each of these same things that you're discussing on leadership and you're discussing with millennials, and we can spin it back home into ourselves. Each one of these pieces is essential. We can no longer be the dictator over ourselves and our future. We have to treat ourselves with the love, grace, having the plan, accountability, each one of these pieces.
That's powerful. Yes, very much so. I mean, success starts on the inside. Mm-hmm. It starts with who you are. And so when we create success, it all starts from the inside out. We never create from outside in. That's not how we work. That's not how the world works. That's not how the universe works. We work from inside out. And so when you start on the inside, you're able to build greatness on the outside.
What does that mean to you if you said, go start on the outside, the inside, Michael, what's that look like?
It looks like love and joy, passion and purpose, nourishing your spirit, loving what you do, coming to work with a joy and a passion to make a difference. It starts with being positive instead of negative. It starts with tapping into your soul. And what does the soul want to create? There's a great term I love. It's called Meraki, M-E-R-A-K-I, Meraki. It means to do something with love, with soul, with creativity. It means to leave a piece of yourself in your work. It means to leave something behind, Meraki. So we leave something behind by doing with love and with soul and with creativity.
Beautiful. How do we tap into Meraki or start to get that cranked up, particularly if we're in a life that seems like out of survival, it's an autopilot?
Yeah, I think first you have to design your masterpiece. As I wrote in the Carpenter, what is it that I want to build? Mm-hmm. What do I want to create? You first have to design it before you can build it. And so what is it that I want my life to look like? What do I want to create? What do I love? What do I want to do? So first design your masterpiece, and then you could start building it. I had to do this a number of years ago when I said, okay, what do I want to create with my life? Mm-hmm. I was miserable. I was unhappy. My life was falling apart. My wife gave me an ultimatum, and I remember saying, why am I here? What am I born to do? And writing and speaking came to me. And then a few years later, I had opened up some restaurants with the goal of making enough money that would allow me to write and speak. And I had about 4 at the time, and they were doing pretty well. But I asked myself, do I see myself owning 15 to 20 restaurants? Because that's where I'm going. Do I want to be a restaurant owner 10 years from now and have 20 restaurants and be a successful restaurateur? Or do I want something else? I said, no, I don't want that. I want to write and speak. I want to make a difference. I don't know if I'll be successful with that, but I know that's what I want. I sold the restaurants, wow. 4 of them, had enough money, maybe 2 years that I could get by of not being successful for 2 years mm-hmm. and provide for the family. And after about 6 months, it wasn't going well. So now I have 1.5 years left, which is not a lot of time. And I'm watching this money run out. And I'm thinking, what did I do? But I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And so I had to let go of the old mm-hmm. in order to create the new. And I had to have the vision of what I wanted to create. And it was to write and speak. I knew that's what I ultimately wanted. And then sure enough, the energy bus came to me on a walk of prayer and gratitude. That book would go on to change my life, allow me to do the work that I do now. But I can look back and it all started with saying, what do I want? What is my vision? It's not being a restaurateur. It's to write and speak. Okay, I'm going to start focusing and building that.
Awesome. And a woohoo! Woo! Yes. There's two things I want to cover that come out of that. So first off, Carpenter is a beautiful book. I think we call it a parable, a story it teaches.
Yeah,
and one of the lessons early on, we're talking about living a life by design and the idea of starting with the end goal in mind. And it sounds like, in a sense, what you did, and then kind of reverse engineer your life from there.
Well, I didn't reverse engineer. I just knew what I wanted to create. And then every day it was about building it. But I wasn't like, okay, this is what I need to do to be successful. I wasn't re-engineering anybody's else success saying, okay, here's what I have to do. Yep. It was more like, all right, this is what I want to build. All right, I'm going to show up every day and start building it. I'm going to fail a lot. I'm going to have some success. I'm going to do a lot of stupid things, but I'm going to do a lot of great things. And along the way, through the failure, the adversity, the obstacles, the small triumphs along the way, you just keep moving forward. And grit is ultimately the key to success. The number one predictor and factor of success is grit. It's not talent. It's not title. It's not wealth. It's not good looks. I'm sorry. It's grit, the ability to work hard for a long period of time towards a goal, to persevere, to overcome, to keep moving forward in the face of adversity, failure, rejections, and obstacles. Grit just moves you forward. And that's what I ultimately had to do. It took a long time to create the masterpiece. Actually, I don't think I've even created it yet. I'm still working towards it. But it took a long time to make it something worthwhile, but it was worth it.
Where did fear fit into that picture?
A huge part. I'm actually writing about that now in The Power of Positive Leadership. It's some writing I actually did this morning on it. Fear is the ultimate thing that holds you back and keeps you from your destiny. And people think that we have more fear when we're not as successful, that we have less fear when we're successful. I have found that people who have a lot of success actually will have more fear because they don't want to lose what they have. Mm-hmm. When you're just starting out, you're naive enough to be successful. You just go for it. You're a little clueless. You're a rookie. You're just putting your head down and you're working hard. But when you get successful, you start to have a little bit more fear. But there's an antidote to fear, and it's love. And love casts out fear. So if you love it, you won't fear it. If you love what you do and your love is greater and more powerful than your fear, well, guess what? You won't have fear when you have love. And so fear is always going to come into play. But I always tell people, remind yourself why you do what you do. Focus on the love of doing it, the love of competing if you're an athlete, not worrying about the outcome, but just love of competing. And you do that, and fear will dissipate. Fear will fade away. Regret lasts a lot longer than fear. When you get into the moment, the fear dissipates, but the regret will linger if you hold on to that fear.
Thank you. Where does spirituality and divine guidance fit into it?
Well, for me, it's everything. I don't believe we're here by an accident. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, not the other way around. And the research shows that everything that is matter is actually energy. So we are nothing more than E equals MC squared. We are energy. So energy comes before matter. So when you understand that, you understand spirit comes before the physical, then there's a lot of spiritual principles that are a play of purpose and love and joy. And those all come from the spirit. Here's what I tell people. Where do thoughts come from? Do they come from your brain? No, the brain is just the hardware. The thoughts come from the software, from consciousness, from a spiritual place. Positive thoughts and negative thoughts. They're not happening in your brain. They come through consciousness to you. And just because you have a negative thought doesn't mean you have to believe it. And then I ask people, where do your thoughts come from? Do they come from you? If they come from you, would you ever choose to have a negative thought? Who would choose to have a negative thought? Your negative thoughts do not come from you. They're coming from a consciousness. So you don't have to believe them. You don't have to listen to them. You can just keep moving forward. And as you do, I believe you become a conduit for the spirit, a conduit for ideas, a conduit for God's greater purpose that is looking to use people to do great things. And so that's where spiritual comes through for me. I would not be able to write or speak or do anything I do without God's given guidance. Because I remember when I tried to do it alone, I didn't have faith and I wasn't a believer in anything. And well, I was always a believer in God, but I didn't have much belief beyond that. I always believed there was a creator. And 98% of the people on the planet, they say, believe in a creator or some higher power. We don't know what we call it, but they believe in a higher power. So I always believed in a higher power, but I never truly surrendered my life and my purpose to that higher power. But once I did, that's when all these ideas, that's when my purpose started to come through me and I started to do this work.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I pray every single time before I do an interview, I pray for help on helping you, on helping others for the highest good of all. I can't imagine that not being a part of what I do.
Yeah. I mean, people who don't believe in a higher power, don't believe that we're here for a reason. I always wonder, then why do we care? If none of it matters and it's all an accident, then why do you have a care in your heart and your soul? Because people care. So why do you care? If it doesn't matter, then why do you care? You care because it all matters. You care because everything matters.
Beautiful. From there, let's talk about being a craftsman, or what does it mean to make a masterpiece of your life?
Well, you are a craftsman or a craftswoman in a world of carpenters. Even though I called the book The Carpenter, he calls himself really a craftsman. Mm-hmm. And a craftsman shows up every day desiring to build greatness. A carpenter just builds something, but a craftsman is looking to create a work of art. They put their heart, their soul, their spirit, their passion into the work that they do. And so every day they're working to build this masterpiece. And that masterpiece could be your life. It could be your team. It could be a book you're writing, a painting you're creating, a song you are writing and singing. It could be anything. But that masterpiece is available for you to create. And a craftsman and a craftswoman, they just put a little more time, a little more energy, a little more effort, a little more love, a little more soul, and a little more care into what they're building. And so they build something great in the process.
Fantastic. What does it mean along through this process to stay crazy?
Yeah, well, I mean, Steve Jobs said it's the crazy people that will change the world and create the world. And I think we look at people who have bold ideas and believe in the impossible as crazy, but small minds can't understand big dreams. That you almost have to be a little crazy to create big success, a little crazy to just say, you know what, I'm going to go for this. I think I was a little crazy when I said I'm going to sell my restaurants and just start writing and speaking. And my wife said, what happens if it doesn't work? And I said, there are no other options. You almost have to be a little crazy to do that. Not the negative crazy, and I don't want to offend anybody with that, but crazy in a good way, crazy that I'm just going to go for it, crazy that I'm going to be fearless, crazy that I'm going to do what I was born to do, not reckless. Remember, not reckless, but fearless.
And she had to be crazy to go along with you on the ride.
You know what? I think she was crazy to marry me in the first place.
That goes for my wife too.
Yeah, I thank her every day for marrying me and for loving me through all of it. I mean, she is an incredible woman who believed in me in many ways more than I believed in myself. Mm-hmm. And you know you're with the right person when they give you strength. So yeah, she gave me a lot of strength, but she was definitely a little crazy to be married to me.
Woohoo! What's the importance of a tribe of runners?
It's the ancient tribe, right? So in the Andes Mountains. So researchers found these people, this ancient tribe, where they delivered messages the old-fashioned way. They would actually run from village to village, 20, 40, 60 miles in between the villages. And what they found when they found this tribe was that the older runners actually had better lung capacity, lower heart rates, better health, and were able to run longer and farther than the actual younger runners. They thought maybe they had like a genetic anomaly, that they were maybe superhuman in some capacity. So they studied them, they studied their genes and studied their blood and studied everything about their bodies. But they found that it had nothing to do with genes or genetics. This tribe was so isolated from the rest of the world that they believed that as you got older, you were able to run farther, that you actually got stronger as you got older. And so they believed it. And that manifested itself into what they actually realized and saw and created in their lives. So the older runners really did run farther. They were stronger because that's what they believed. It shows the power of belief.
Awesome. What's the power of serving, and what's that mean?
Well, you can't be great unless you are a servant leader. I'm convinced that you don't have to be great to serve, but you have to serve to be great. Mm-hmm. And that as you serve others, you become great in their eyes. That greatness requires service and sacrifice to others. That you can be a high performer yourself in your world and in your sales and your business and in your sport, but to truly be the elite of the elite, to be the greatest of the greats, you have to be someone who makes people around you better. And to make people around you better, you have to serve them in some capacity. That serving takes many different forms for each person. But when you serve others and you help them grow, what happens is you grow as a leader.
Fantastic. What's the importance really of being on a mission? And you're clearly on a mission. You're burning like so bright right through the screen at me here.
Well, it's about being filled with purpose. We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. And great leaders, world changers, people who are on a mission are the ones who ultimately change the world. They're the ones who are driven with purpose to accomplish something greater. Without great purpose, there's no great desire. And so purpose is what fuels us on our journey to create a meaningful life. There are going to be days that you get up, you don't feel very positive. There are going to be days you don't feel like building your masterpiece. You don't feel like being a craftsman or a craftswoman. It's those days where you need a purpose that gives you something to be positive about. So what's my greater purpose that will fuel me to be successful?
Awesome. Earlier, you were talking about spirituality. At the end of the Carpenter, you kind of bring things around full circle, and you say that we've forgotten who we truly are.
Yeah, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, not human beings having a spiritual experience. And so when we remember that and we bring our spirit to work, our passion, our joy, our love, we call it spirit, right? That team has a lot of spirit. There is spirit. When we bring that spirit to our work, we're able to build more, create more, love more, and really enjoy our work a whole lot more and create something amazing together.
Woohoo! What, Jessica, my wife, she always likes me to ask a question about parents and kids toward the end. What advice would you give to parents to help their kids today and learning how to create their own masterpiece?
Well, with an 18 and 16-year-old, it's about sharing these principles and values with them. You can read The Carpenter with them. I think that's something that they would get and get the ideas to help them create their masterpiece. It's realizing that it's not about what you want for them or what you want them to be, I should say. It's about them helping them become all that God has created them to be. So helping them recognize what their gifts are, what their strengths are, what they love to do, and help mentor and guide them in the right direction. It's being there for them, loving them, supporting them, helping them grow, but also challenging them and pushing them to be their best. So it's a mixture of both of love and accountability.
Fantastic. What would you say is one, what was the main purpose in writing The Carpenter, actually?
The idea originally started around the idea of caring. That caring is a success strategy, that the greatest teams, organizations, and leaders care more. And if you care more, you will give more, do more, and become more. Happened when a carpenter came to my home, and it was during the Great Recession, was having him build an entertainment center, like in the book. And he walked in the door, we started talking. I asked him if he was, being hurt by the recession, if his business was down. I thought he was going to say, yeah, it's horrible. He said, I've been busier than ever. And it hit me. The average carpenters in the area weren't doing well. But he was one of the great ones because he loved his work and he truly cared. He was a craftsman. And I realized that caring is the key. So originally the idea was caring, but then I started thinking about love and about serving, and that we have to love, we have to serve, we have to care. So love, serve, care became sort of the foundation of this book. And then build your masterpiece and be a craftsman and build with optimism. also came into it as well as I started to write and think about the principles. And then I realized generosity is key, that we have to be generous with our time, generous with our heart, generous with our resources. I mean, I give a lot away to charity, and I'm not saying that to brag, but I believe in that. I believe that you need to give back and that you need to support and that you can't take it with you. So I don't want to accumulate. I want to give and I want to help and I want to empower and I want to support. And it's funny, the more I give, it comes back to you tenfold. And that's not why I give, but that's just the way the world works. So these principles all came together in what are the greatest success principles of all. And I hope that people read this book, and what people say is they read it and it just makes them look at life a whole lot different. It makes them realize that they create inside out, not outside in. It makes them realize that they can build their masterpiece each day. It makes them realize that, but you don't have to focus on a lot of big complicated strategies. Just show up every day and love and serve and care. And if you do that, your business will exponentially grow.
Woohoo! Where can people go to find out more, to find your beautiful book?
It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or any bookstore, or they can go to the website carpenter11.com, carpenter11.com. And my website is jongordon.com, jongordon.com. All my books are there. I'm on Twitter at jongordon11. Also Facebook. And I'm always, again, sharing insights and ideas and tips and you name it on social media.
Fantastic. And if you didn't catch that, if you're driving down on the road, just go to inspirenationshow.com. We'll get you over to Jon's sites as well. Any last words of wisdom you want to share with us today?
Well, as we begin, the new year, I mean, as people are moving forward, I just think it's important that, they realize that, they're going to have ups and downs in the course of the year. They're going to have challenges. They're going to have setbacks. We're going to have bad days. But if you fuel up with this optimism and belief and a greater purpose and love on a daily basis, you'll have the spirit and the energy and the power that you need to keep on moving forward. So just want to remind people of that and look forward to staying in touch and just wish people all the best. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Jon. For everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler saying, be well, have fun, get the Carpenter, and make your own life a masterpiece, and shine bright. Woohoo!
Well, thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me. I'm going to go rock and roll, help my kids.
You got it, and congratulations, and early congratulations on the book writing tomorrow.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Take care, Jon.
Thanks, Michael. You're the best.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like below. Also, leave your comments. Have some real fun with it. Subscribe to our channel where you're going to get more great videos, more interviews coming up. And check out our website, inspirenationshow.com. That's where you'll find tips, blogs, information, videos you won't find anywhere else, and useful and helpful resources to really help you kickstart your life and to shine bright. Thanks so much again. Thank you for your support. Like, comment, subscribe. See the website. Thanks so much and have fun. Of course, shine bright. Woohoo!